The key turned in the lock, and the front door swung open recklessly. The sound of her heels echoing against the hardwood was piercing, bordering on taunting. She stumbled inside half laughing, seemingly reenacting an inner joke. I remained stationary, seated on the couch in the darkness, observing. For months now, Vanessa had been executing these late-night girls' outings. The reasons were growing flimsy, her demeanor increasingly brazen. Previously, she feigned some remorse for returning home late. Now, she strutted in as if the house belonged to her, treating me like a mere accessory in her life, a discardable piece of furniture she could abandon at will. Her dress was rumpled, her hair disheveled, and the expensive fragrance she drenched herself with failed to cover the unmistakable scent of another man's cologne. But it was the absence of underwear that provoked me. She discarded her high heels nonchalantly, emitting a theatrical sigh as she hurled her handbag onto the counter. In the dim light, it seemed she was taunting me to comment. "You're back late," I remarked casually, keeping my tone in check. She showed no sign of reacting. Instead, she extended her arms, appearing as if she had undergone a strenuous day. "Relax," she said, looking at the wall clock. "It's just." She checked the time. 2:47 m. She chuckled lightly. "All right, perhaps a bit late." I remained silent, letting the tension linger. She sighed dramatically, as if enduring hardship. "For goodness sake, stop giving me that look." She turned on the living room light, squinting at me with a smirk. "You're acting like I've just returned from someone else's bedroom." I didn't utter a word. My silence spoke volumes. Vanessa let out an exasperated sigh and walked to the kitchen without reply, rummaging through the fridge for water. Dear friends, if you enjoy this story, please like and subscribe to our channel. It will motivate us to make more videos like this for you. She unscrewed the lid and took a lengthy gulp before spinning around with a smirk. "Really? You're upset because I live a life?" she snorted derisively. "Baby, I'm sorry if you can't comprehend it, but women need time to relax. We go out, we have fun, sometimes we drink excessively. So what?" She finished her drink, then leaned against the counter, folding her arms. "That's why you returned home without underwear?" I inquired. The smirk momentarily faded, only for a brief instant. Then she chuckled, laughed. "My God, are you genuinely checking if I'm wearing any underwear?" she questioned, shaking her head. "You're so insecure, baby, so insecure." I could feel my jaw clench. She shrugged. "I don't know where they are. Perhaps I left them in the taxi, maybe at the bar, maybe in the restroom when I changed." She paused. A fissure appeared in her unblemished, invincible facade. Then she swiftly regained composure. Her lips curled into a mocking grin. "Slip up." This word ignited my anger. She was teasing me, finding amusement in the situation. I inhaled deeply, ensuring my face remained impassive. "Is this common behavior for you?" I asked, as she returned home casually dressed and smelling of another man's cologne. She snorted, rolling her eyes once more. "Good heavens, stop being so melodramatic." She raised her hands in frustration, aggravated. "You truly believe something occurred? Do you listen to yourself?" She disengaged from the counter and advanced towards me, her hips moving suggestively. She halted mere inches away from me, with the same self-satisfied expression. "Let me clarify," she said, feigning slowness as if explaining to a child. "I went out, I danced, I drank, I enjoyed myself. That's all. As for you, you're sitting here brooding like an overly possessive boy. Perhaps you should try having some fun of your own instead of worrying about my actions." I balled my fists. She no longer denied the incident. She slightly tilted her head, examining my expression as if appraising it. Then she dramatically sighed, patting my cheek lightly. "Geez, you're adorable when you're angry." She playfully taunted. "Perhaps if you weren't so tedious, I wouldn't need girls' nights to unwind." That was the point. I stood up suddenly, causing her to take a step back. Her smug expression faltered. I paused for a while, giving her time to absorb the gravity of the situation, allowing her to understand that whatever control she thought she had over me, it was now lost. She sighed in exasperation, folding her arms again. "All right, now you're just being strange." Are you going to give me the cold shoulder all night? I walked away, moving towards the stairs. She called out after me. Oh my God, are you actually serious? Sweetheart, don't act like a child. I remained silent. I climbed the stairs, locked the bedroom door behind me, and started detaching myself from her life. She had no idea, no clue that tonight would be the last night she ever treated me with disrespect. When she awoke the next day, he was nowhere to be found, no messages, no explanations, only silence. Her phone alarm buzzed at 9:30 am, vibrating angrily against the nightstand. Vanessa groaned, burying her head in the pillow, smelling of old alcohol and sweat, but indifferent. She couldn't recall how she ended up in bed the previous night. After disregarding the alarm for a while, she eventually stretched and picked up her phone with a languid swipe. The bright screen caused her to squint. No missed calls or messages. She scoffed. So this is the silent treatment now? She rolled onto her back, took a deep breath, and looked at the empty space beside her. Her husband was not there. No trace of him in the bed, no sign that he had ever shared it with her the previous night. Really, he's just being melodramatic. With a dismissive wave, Vanessa discarded the blankets and assumed an upright position. A faint pulse in her temples served as a testament to the alcohol consumed the previous night. Indifference was her companion now. She deserved those drinks, she thought. After all, she wasn't a captive, but a wedded woman. If there was an issue with that, it was his burden, not hers. She embarked on her journey towards the bathroom, dabbing cold water on her face before examining her reflection in the mirror. Her eyeliner was smudged, her hair unkempt, and lips still swollen from. She chuckled to herself. Indeed, last night was enjoyable. With a contented sigh, she trod downstairs, anticipating a sullen teenager in the kitchen over a cup of coffee. However, as she rounded the corner, the kitchen was eerily quiet. The customary morning rituals were absent. No aroma of coffee, no sound of dishes clattering, no husband. Vanessa arched an eyebrow, approaching the counter where he usually left his keys. Empty. His wallet? Absent. His work phone? Missing. A fleeting unfamiliar sensation, an unease, skittered down her back. Mark, she queried. Nothing. She moved towards the living room. Nothing. Upon entering the garage, she noticed his vehicle was absent. Vanessa's smirk dissipated. She snatched her phone and typed a message. Vanessa. Oh my God. Are you actually sulking? Grow up. No reply. She called him, straight to voicemail, now frowning. She activated their shared location tracker, a device she feigned dislike for but secretly monitored when needed. The application loaded, the spinning wheel teasing her. Then, location unavailable. Her abdomen knotted. What? She refreshed the page. The same outcome. She let out a sharp breath, attempting to dismiss the unsettling feeling that climbed her neck. It's just being difficult. He's trying to make a point. Let him have his little fit. She prepared breakfast, taking her time, aimlessly scrolling through her phone as if nothing was amiss. Every few minutes, she glanced towards the front door. By midday, apprehension had escalated beyond irritation, edging towards dread. She tried calling him again, but his voicemail picked up as before. By 2 p.m., she checked his social media accounts. All of them were devoid of updates. She inspected his work profile. It was no longer accessible. Now the disquiet gnawed at her esophagus. She wasn't naive. She recognized this pattern. But this scenario seemed implausible. He wouldn't abandon her. That night, Vanessa struggled to sleep. She persuaded herself that she didn't care. However, her body told a different tale. Her stomach was in knots, and her skin prickled. Every sound startled her awake. She spent the evening contacting his friends, but none responded. Instead, her calls went unanswered, and her messages remained unread. The group chats she had been part of for years were empty. Not even Mark's family was returning her calls. Her blood ran cold at that silence. She wasn't merely blocked, she was being disconnected. Her hands shook as she dispatched another missive. Vanessa, Mark, seriously, cease your immature behavior. It's humiliating for you. Vanessa, are you genuinely acting like this? Are you truly so petty? Vanessa, I understand if you want to sulk, but don't expect me to be here, patiently waiting for you. No reply. On the fourth day, Vanessa sat in the kitchen, her knuckles white from her tight grip on her phone. This wasn't true. It wasn't happening. He would return. He had to return. Yet, with each ticking day, the truth became more ingrained. The knowledge seared through her like acid. Mark was not returning. She had lost him, and she hadn't even sensed it coming. Initially, her mind attempted to justify it. All right, so he left. No big deal. He'll come back when he realizes no one will tolerate his behavior as I do. But then the rage set in. Did he really believe he could leave me? She deserved more than this. She deserved an apology from him. She found him harshly deserting her without uttering a word, causing her to confide in friends that he was suffering a breakdown, highlighting his past instability, expressing concern for his well-being. Some people accepted this narrative, but most remained skeptical. Whispers began behind her back, as others perceived her words as deception. Her colleagues cast sidelong glances at work, and gym friends started making excuses when she proposed socializing. The feigned sympathy quickly evaporated. Alone, the fear took hold for the first time in her life, as she realized she was no longer in control. In a move she had never contemplated before, she dialed Mark's attorney. A gruff voice responded, "Vanessa." She hesitated, taken aback by his anticipation. He seemed to be prepared for her call. Her heart raced. "Why?" she began hesitantly, clearing her throat. "Where is my ex-husband?" The lawyer sighed in reply. The words struck her like a blow. "What?" she asked softly. There was a moment of silence before he spoke again. Then the lawyer's tone sharpened. "Haven't you seen the email?" Her stomach plummeted. "Which email?" A moment of silence followed, then, "Go check your inbox." With that, the line disconnected. Vanessa stared at her phone, draining of color. She gulped and opened her emails. At the top of her inbox, bold and unread, was an email with his name, subject, "Our divorce." Her vision blurred as she clicked it open. She quickly scanned the text, her heart pounding loudly, making it hard for her to comprehend. Finalized. Completed. Irreversible. Attached were pictures. Pictures of her. Pictures of her entering a hotel room with another man. Pictures of her laughing, touching, kissing. Her throat constricted. He had been aware. All along, he had been aware. And she had played perfectly into his hands. Her fingers shook violently. Her breaths came out in short, uneven gasps. Mark had done what she thought he was incapable of. He had bested her at her own game. The revelation had taken her unawares, and now the words in the email lay stark before her. Filed. Finalized. Irreversible. Her marriage was terminated. The control she thought she had was lost. Worse still, Mark had deceived her, using her with calculated precision as a pawn. The attached photos were damning evidence of her secret rendezvous at a hotel with her casual lover, each timestamp marking them back months. He'd known. All along he'd known. Her stomach churned, the threat of nausea gnawing at her. Clinging to the edge of the kitchen counter, she gasped for breaths, short and shallow. This couldn't be happening, but it was. With trembling hands, she dispatched a text. "Vanessa, Mark, this isn't a joke. Contact me." No reply. She called him, only to find her call diverted to voicemail. Another call went unanswered. He was choosing to ignore her. The pain in her jaw became acute as she gritted her teeth. "How dare you abandon me?" Determined not to be cast aside like refuse, she vowed to fight back. Vanessa snatched her keys and left the house in a rage. The initial public rejection came from Mark's family. She hurried to Mark's parents' residence. Her knuckles turned white as she tightly clutched the steering wheel. She anticipated sympathy, assumed they would support her. However, when she knocked on their door, his mother barely acknowledged her before speaking through the screen. "Leave, Vanessa." Taken aback, Vanessa hesitated. "Wait, I merely wish to discuss." His mother's countenance stiffened. "There's nothing to talk about." The door remained closed. Vanessa managed a faint chuckle. "All right, I understand. He must be upset. But after all, we are family." "No," his mother replied sternly. You were family. Vanessa felt her stomach knot. This isn't like him, she pleaded, maintaining a calm tone. Aren't you aware of that? He's not in the right state of mind. You have gall coming here. His mother's voice grew sharper, like a knife's edge. My son invested years in loving you, caring for you. And this is how you paid him back. Vanessa felt her throat constrict. You destroyed your marriage, Vanessa. You made your choice. Endure the consequences. The door slammed hard. Vanessa remained stunned. This wasn't the way it was supposed to be. They were meant to empathize with her. They were intended to support her. But instead, she was ostracized. The second harsh public judgment, friends against her. By the time she returned home, she was boiling with anger. She dispatched messages to her friend's circle, anticipating sympathy. Vanessa, can you believe this? Mark abruptly departed. No heads up. Nothing. Vanessa, you need to communicate with him. Inform him he's being unreasonable. She waited. The responses were not what she anticipated. Lana. Vanessa, please. Michelle, I think you should ignore him. Jessica, he has proof against V. I don't believe you're the wronged party in this situation, addressed Vanessa. Apologies, Vanessa. Pardon me, Vanessa. Are you really taking his side? Jessica, we're not picking sides. But didn't you expect something like this to happen? Vanessa. Goodness gracious, you all are so dramatic. People cheat frequently. It's no big deal, it's just a part of marriages. The group chat fell silent. Minutes later, Michelle exited the chat, followed by Jessica, then Lana. One after another, they left, leaving Vanessa in the group. Her hands trembled. Her own friends had deserted her. She couldn't fathom it. She phoned Michelle. No response. Tried Jessica. Voicemail. The murmurs began. And now no one wanted to be seen with her. The third public embarrassment, the professional shame. 2 days later, Vanessa felt the gazes as soon as she entered the office. The usual salutations were absent. The atmosphere was heavy with an unsaid tension. Her superior barely met her gaze. Colleagues surreptitiously looked at each other as Vanessa walked by. Her assistant, typically talkative, responded in monosyllables. By lunchtime, she understood why. In the break room, she was scrolling through her phone when she saw a post from Mark's sister. When someone reveals their true nature, trust them the first time. Attached was a photo of herself entering the hotel. Her heart halted. She clicked on the comments. Alas, these people didn't deserve loyalty. Poor Mark. He had dodged a bullet, if you asked me. Seems her alibi for a girls' night out no longer worked. Ha! Vanessa's blood ran cold. She slammed her phone down, her hands trembling. One of her coworkers passed by, looking away. She felt unveiled, mortified. Mark hadn't just abandoned her. He had tarnished her reputation. The final blow. By the end of the week, Vanessa was desperate. Her social life lay in ruins. Her reputation was shattered. Mark stood untouchable. She had only one play left. She feigned an emergency. Vanessa's voice trembled as she phoned the lawyer's office, feigning panic. She requested Mark be informed immediately, whispering that she thought she was pregnant. The lie left a sour taste in her mouth. After a prolonged silence, the lawyer laughed and said it was a good try. She should check her email more often. Defeated, Vanessa saw an unread email in her inbox. Clicking it open revealed a paternity test request. Mark had apparently foreseen every strategy she would employ. Tears choked from her throat as she realized her own scheme had backfired. The guilt weighed heavily on her, for there was no one to accuse but herself. Alone in the dimly lit living room, Vanessa stared vacantly at an empty wine glass and heard only the oppressive silence of the house. The quiet that used to symbolize control and Mark's obedience now felt like a suffocating tomb. Her phone lay unmoving on the coffee table, powerless. No one to turn to, her friends had distanced themselves, including those who were once accomplices. Mark's family had severed ties entirely. Work was unbearable, with the glares, whispers, and judgment. Previously admired, she now faced pity from colleagues. And as for Mark, he vanished without a trace. Until today, A notification on her phone this morning, chilling her to the core. Mark Davis is seeking a meeting. She scrutinized it for an extended moment, breath frozen in her chest. He wished to speak with her. Her initial impulse was fury. Why now, when he had abandoned me for weeks? When he caused my downfall? When he destroyed my life? Yet beneath the wrath lurked something she despised even more. Hope. She convinced herself it was a desire to triumph, to finally have the final say. But in her heart, she knew the truth. She needed to see him. She yearned to know if there was the tiniest chance that she could repair this. The meeting. The selected cafe was unremarkable, merely a tranquil corner eatery on the opposite side of town. She arrived ahead of time deliberately, aiming to claim the table first and project composure. Yet, when she spotted him enter, her stomach somersaulted. Mark appeared altered, not improved in any way. He was meticulously dressed with a polished demeanor that surpassed anything she'd witnessed before. His shoulders were stiffened, his stride confident, his facial expression cryptic. His hair was carefully styled, his beard neatly trimmed, presenting an image of a man who had moved on. Her mouth grew parched. He took his seat facing her without uttering a word. She waited for him to initiate the conversation, but he remained silent. This silence infuriated her, so she eventually asked, folding her arms and feigning a smirk. "So you've stopped moping around?" His lips barely creased, not with amusement, but something colder. "I didn't sulk, Vanessa," he stated. "I strategized." A shiver ran down her spine as she suppressed a cynical chuckle. "Is this entire reaction just because of a small error?" Mark slightly tilted his head. "A small error?" she shrugged, leaning back. "All right, perhaps a few errors. But Mark, let's be honest. People make mistakes. It happens. You're acting as if I committed a crime." His jaw clenched, but he didn't erupt. This infuriated her even more than if he had. She wanted him angry. She wanted him to prove he still cared. Yet, he merely sat there. "People make mistakes, do they?" he eventually said. "Then tell me, Vanessa, how is that going for you?" She stiffened. "What do you mean by that?" He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. "I'm referring to the fact that, last time I checked, you don't have any friends left. My family wants nothing to do with you. Your own boss barely acknowledges you." Her throat tightened. "Don't pretend to be without faults," she retorted. "I was a good wife to you. Maybe if you weren't so dull, I wouldn't have needed to seek company elsewhere." There it was. The excuse. His explanation left her anticipating anger, perhaps even shouting. Instead, he merely smiled, not a kind or sorrowful one, but a knowing one. "You still don't understand, Vanessa," he murmured softly, fixing her with an icy stare. Contrary to what she believed, he hadn't abandoned her due to infidelity. Her brow furrowed, bewilderment flashing across her features. He leaned back, arms folded across his chest. "I left because you weren't worth holding on to." A wave of shame washed over her. Her fingers dug into the tabletop. "Damn you," she spat. He chuckled. "That was already done. Biggest mistake of my life." Hot tears threatened at the corners of her eyes, but she refused to yield, refusing him the satisfaction of seeing them fall. She had one final play, one last chance to reclaim control. She swallowed, trying to stabilize her voice. "I miss you," she said quietly, reaching for his hand. "I erred, Mark," she murmured. "I regret it, every day." The words tasted strange, but she knew how to feign conviction when necessary. "Don't discard everything we shared, not even for a moment." A flicker seemed to pass through his eyes, but he withdrew his hand. His voice remained composed. "Vanessa," he stated, "it isn't me you miss. You miss the control." Her heart paused. "You don't miss me. You miss someone who tolerated your behavior," he continued. "Someone who made your life simpler. Someone who forgave you, time and again, despite your mistreatment." He leaned closer. "But let me tell you something," he added. "That person is no more." She gasped. "Savor your freedom," he said as he rose. "You'll have plenty of it now." She surged to her feet. "You can't abandon me," he smiled. "I already have." Then he departed. She stood motionless, struck by the reality. It was over. For good this time. No more chances. No victories. Only her. Alone. And for the first time in her life, Vanessa understood the true extent of what she had lost, not merely her marriage, not just her standing, not only her influence, but herself. She'd discarded the individual who genuinely cherished her, treating him as if worthless. Alone now, she was the one who remained. Audience members, kindly express your sentiments in the comments below. Don't overlook liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel.